Welcome back, family. I got something very interesting for you. Excuse the cold that I just got over, but that doesn't even matter. We're still going to put in some work today. Have you ever thought about what are some shocking mistakes that we make as project managers? Or what are some shocking mistakes that you've made as a project managers? Today's episode is entitled Project Fail Traps, the 8 shocking mistakes you're making in project management. Again, Project Fail Traps, the 8 shocking mistakes you're making in project management. Now listen, family, I know when I touch on these 8 shocking things, most people already say, well, you missed this and you missed that. Hey, I'll make a part 2 or part 3, depending on how the feedback is from the family. But these are some of the things when I first got started, even while I'm going in project management, that I've learned along the way that are essential to the craft of the thing that I love, that I hope that you fall in love with, called project management. See, reason why I had to fall in love with some of these mistakes is because I've made them. What do you mean, ED? See, when I first started leading a project, which leads us into this is zero. This is not even number one. I guess you could call this a pre-bonus. Number one or zero is really transparency. You see, a lot of times stakeholders they don't trust each other. Say what? Yeah, they really don't trust each other. I kind of unpacked that in the Tuckerman model where we talked about the forming, the storming, the norming, performing, and adjourning. But really, in that forming, storming stage is really where you actually see that you have to find ways to build that trust, because everyone is really kind of isolated in a sense, because they want to show what they can do until they can figure out how can I take what I can do and incorporate it into more of a team environment. Number point as part of that transparency, we also have to work with stakeholders to ensure that we create a safe place for them to admit mistakes, as far as, hey, I'm not going to be able to meet that timeline, or hey, I accidentally, sent this information to a different customer when it should have went to this customer. Yes, you'll be shocked and surprised. Also, stop making your stakeholders feel guilty. And I hate using the word mistakes, but I like to use the word of area of opportunity, because you have a chance to learn from it. But also ensuring they have a safe place to be able to articulate out what is going on in the project. When you don't create that safe place for them, you as the project manager, unfortunately, I guess really more unfortunately, you start finding out at the end, like, man, if we would have known about this ahead of time, then we would have been able to get in front of it. So by zero, the first 0 point, or I should say the pre-bonus point, is transparency. All right, let's move on to point number one. Define team for the project. Defined team for the project. When you work in a matrix organization, or you don't really have resources technically assigned to the project, they may be assigned to your project, 5 other projects. So now it becomes a priority type atmosphere, and we're not taking advantage of some of the diverse sets that are within our teams. And because we're not taking advantage of that, then all of a sudden we start missing key stakeholders. So when you start defining your team for the project, and sometimes you don't have the ability really to be able to define your team, but when you, because there may be a team already in place and you may be taking over a project. But if you're not already taking over a project, let's say that this is a new project, the project charter was you just authorized, the project charter was just authorized, and now the project manager is on board. Really, if you have the opportunity to define your team based on the functionalities that you need for that project, it would work better for you in the long run versus the short term, because of the fact that once you have a more of a defined team, this is priority number one, and everything else is priority number two. You have a team that's more focused. They're more focused on getting the job done and executing properly. Not saying that you walking into a team that's already formed that you can't change that around, but I will be honest with you, it will be a challenge, which we're up for as project managers. It will be a challenge, but it would be a as my mom would say, it's like you trying to pour water uphill. It's just going to keep going downhill. So ensuring when you get on that project, if you're taking over a team, make sure you get these assigned roles. Also, a key note here: make sure what the priority is. How much time are they allowed to work on this particular project that you're leading? First of all, family, I really appreciate the love and the support that you guys have really been giving me. So don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, leave a comment. I love to get your comments. You know I respond back to you. So again, all the people that have my new, I don't like call you guys subscribers, but the new family, appreciate you guys showing me some love. And anyone that is watching this video that haven't subscribed, come on, hit that subscribe for button. What you waiting for? Let's move on to point number 2. Picking your battles. This is tough. I remember growing up, I had a hard time with this, picking my battles, because for me, if someone says something, I want to say something back, but you have to understand, especially when you're leading a project, you're going to have to pick and choose your battles. I'll give you a good example. Let's say that they have their own project schedule. Let's say one of your stakeholders, they have their own project schedule, and you're maintaining a project schedule. Most project managers want to go in and be more controlling and micromanaging and say, well, no, you have to use my project schedule. We're not using yours. But instead of taking more of a collaborative approach and saying, fine, you can keep your project schedule, you can have all the details that you want, but I just need you to make sure that we can feed into the project schedule that I have. That's a compromise. That's a way to collaborate. And because they may want to track more things on their project that leads to the actual milestone, and that's fine. So you have to be flexible when you are picking your battles. There's some battles that you do need to take a strong stance on. Some conflicts you need to take a strong stance on. But there's others that you're going to have to pick and choose. And again, it's subjective. You're going to have to and unfortunately, because you may have stakeholders coming in and out, you're going to have to do a lot of experimenting to see if this really works, what the team is advising you on, and say, hey, this is what we want to do. And you have to identify, is this going to make the project more or less successful? And by doing that, again, you're going to have to pick and choose your battles. There's going to be some that you may have to lose on in order to gain the overall big picture. And the overall big picture is making sure that your project is completed on time, under budget or on budget, within scope, and also within quality. Point number 3, lack of planning. You know where I'm about to go with this. If you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. Point taken. I hear you, ED. What I'm saying to you, family, is this. So I've seen this a lot of times that we'll skip over the whole detailing of a project plan. I'm not talking about the schedule. I'm talking about the project plan, which consists of your 10 knowledge areas. Also, not setting clear, and I do mean crystal clear, measurable objectives. We just go. All right, hey, this is what I need, and we're just running, and we're running into this risk. We're running into this, and we're like, man, we didn't properly plan. So we need to properly plan effectively to ensure that we can move forward. And also, one of the biggest things, we need to understand what a celebration looks like. What are you talking about? You talk about lack of planning, and he said, understand what a lack of celebration. Stay with me, family. What I mean by the lack of celebration means when you set milestones, milestone is a significant point in time. So being able to have all these tasks mirror up, or I should say fold up into the milestone. Once you complete that milestone, you should have milestones on your schedule to let you know, hey, when I hit all these milestones, this project is done. And so being able to have these milestones, I've seen it on schedules where, I know this is weird, but I've seen it, trust me, where they won't have milestones. They have a list of tasks, and you're like, whoa, Jesus, when we gonna finish with this? I mean, this seems like a forever type project. So family, I challenge you, when you're leading a project, ensure that you're setting those milestones. Point number 4, or I should say mistake number 4, neglecting risk management. Ooh. Listen, when I lead a project, and I learned this from a project manager, when I seen him do it, I was like, ooh, I'm gonna model that, because it makes a lot of sense. He would always start the meeting talking about any risk, any new risk, or any new issues, and then we're looking at the existing risk that we put in place, as well as the existing issues. Meaning, he would pull up his risk register and say, hey guys, are there any new risks that we need to talk about, that we need to add here? If okay, no new risk. All right, any new? Let's pull up the issue log. Pulling up the issue log. Any new issues that we need to account for, or anything of that nature. Nope. Okay. Now let's go look at our existing. And I'm telling you that every meeting that he had, he always started with that. And I asked him. I've had to pull him to a side, and I had to ask him. So why do you do that as a first agenda topic instead of jumping into the other things? He said because if we can assess our risk and our issues appropriately, what it end up happening is we'll be playing catch up. We'll be chasing down, mitigations to the risk or chasing down these risks now that they're flipped to issues. So we're keeping this in the forefront, and we're allowing people to be objective and create risks. And maybe they would never happen, but being able to have a plan in place. Remember, I said if you fail to plan, you plan to what? You plan to fail. So, family, take that systematic approach. It's a recommendation, but again, anytime I'm leading a project and I have my weekly or biweekly meetings, or if I meet twice a week, whatever that cadence is, I ensure that's the first agenda topic that we discuss about. And also, I want to touch when you develop your mitigation plan, ensures for high priority risks. Let's move on. Mistake number 5. Ooh, this is going to be a good one. Ineffective communication. Ineffective communication. You know where I'm going, right? If you don't, this book right here is based on the communication challenge that we have in the world of project management. So there's a chapter dedicated around communication, and what I've noticed is when we don't leverage communication properly, meaning we don't set clear guidelines of how we're going to communicate with the team as well as with the stakeholders. And so we have to be the forefront. We are the spokesperson for that project. So we have to ensure that we are getting the most up-to-date information. We're making sure the team is staying connected, and that we're providing regular updates and progress reports. And don't create those progress reports where it's going to take a genius to figure out. Anyone should be able to pick up a progress report, and they should be able to tell you what is going on in the project, meaning what are the key achievements for that week? What are there any risk or issues? Tell me what the milestones are from the top of the project, meaning when you basically, let's say the project is going to be a 6-month project, from month 1 to 6, what are all those milestones associated with it? And then just an overview, or basically the project objective. What is the outcome we're looking to obtain? And most important, project managers, or new or existing, or that have been in this game 10, 20, 50, I don't know how many years, but we have to work on using active listening. Please, and I do ask of you, don't formulate a response before you hear what your stakeholder or your team is telling you. Because if you already got a formulated response, then they're going to think you're not paying attention. Understand where they're going. Ask probing questions to understand what their thinking was behind that. And then you collaborate with them to drive the point home. All right, let's move on to point number 6. Point number 6, failing to adapt to change. Sometimes we can get caught up in the dogma, or I should say the ideology of what worked before. Yeah, that worked on the last project. Hey, we're going to do that again. And then when you see it's not working, you're still trying to keep going, and it's not working. So family, I challenge you, don't be so rigid with your planning. That's why they have change management. To leverage change management more effectively, if you see that this plan is not effective enough and we need to make a change because it's affecting our triple constraints, meaning our schedule, our cost, our quality, and our scope. So ensure that we have to do better with that by leveraging that change management process that is in place. And also, stakeholders, sometimes you're going to get a resistance from your stakeholders, and this could be input or external changes that could benefit the project, and we have to be willing to listen to that feedback and experiment to see, hey, maybe we should do this, and let's put it in a change request so we can move forward. Point number 7. Hey, listen, you see this? I'm looking at my watch. Time. Yes. So poor time management. Listen, making sure that you prioritize tasks effectively, leading, and if you don't do that, what happens is you miss your deadlines. You don't allocate a sufficient enough time for really truly critical project activities, and you should understand, you'll be able to get an understanding of that when you're talking with your team. If you're saying, hey, how long is this going to take you, and they may say 2 weeks, and then you may push back and say, well, why is it going to take us 2 weeks? Is there a way to reduce that timeline? Is there anything that we can do by helping you reduce that timeline? So you have to ask these probing questions. I feel like a project manager is almost, I don't know if you ever seen the show Another 48, where they're basically asking a lot of questions, trying to understand what happened and why did this happen. And so you have to be almost an investigator in a sense, because you want to understand why your team is either falling behind or not moving fast enough when they already made the commitment. And then the final thing on that piece is allowing scope creep to really find its way in and not adjusting the schedules and priorities or accordingly. And my last and final one, family, and I hope you guys enjoy this one, is really staying focused. I understand that there's going to be a lot of distractions. And one of the key things, and I've said this in the last video, well, not the last one of the videos of where I am in a meeting, I'm ensuring that I minimize all distractions so I can be where I'm supposed to be at that time. What do you mean by that, ED? What I mean by being where you are at the time is saying that, all right, I'm gonna put my phone in do not disturb. I'm gonna lock in and stay focused to what the team is talking about, interject particular points, allow the team to have healthy discussions around how we can continue to move this project forward. So ensuring that you're staying focused and minimizing your distractions when you're leading a project. I hope these really worked, helped you out, family, because again, these things here really outline how you can fall into the trap, and all of a sudden you can look at your project and you're so far behind, and now you got to go explain to the sponsor, the project sponsor, what happened, why did you fall this far behind, why are you just now letting me know that you're just far behind. So make sure, family, that when you're leading your projects, if you're a new project manager, hey, take this consultation so you won't fall victim, or I should say, so that way you can be a victor over the projects that you're leading. Until next time, this has been your boy ED. Until next time, I'm out.